Day 1 of the 2026 World Cup was supposed to be perfect. Instead, within minutes of kickoff, the global broadcast feed began glitching across multiple continents, VAR systems froze mid-review, and a controversial goal stood without confirmation. FIFA called it a temporary technical disruption, but inside the stadium officials were already using a very different word: collapse. The opening match in Mexico City was meant to be a showcase of control and precision. AI-assisted refereeing, fully connected VAR networks, real-time decision systems across 3 host nations. Everything designed to remove doubt from football. But doubt arrived faster than the first goal. At the 37th minute, VAR screens in the stadium went dark. Communication between on-field referees and the review room suddenly dropped. Players looked around confused, unsure whether to continue. Then came the moment that defined the day. A goal scored in a borderline offside situation was awarded instantly, without any review. No replay confirmation, no VAR check, just a decision made in silence. The stadium reaction was not pure celebration. It was confusion. Even commentators struggled to explain what was happening because they were no longer receiving stable replay feeds. Months before the tournament, internal concerns had already warned that this system was too dependent on centralized synchronization. Every VAR room across Canada, the United States, and Mexico was tied into a shared cloud decision structure. If one layer failed, everything risked falling with it. One internal document even described it as a beautiful system that collapses completely if a single point misfires. At kickoff, everything held. But at minute 37, multiple coordination nodes began dropping at the same time. VAR delay spiked. Referee communication channels degraded. Then full synchronization was lost across parts of the network. A former broadcast engineer later described it simply as dominoes falling in the dark. Once the central layer broke, nothing underneath could stand independently. The infrastructure behind this World Cup included hundreds of interconnected systems feeding into one global decision architecture. Even broadcasters relied on FIFA's synchronization layer for replays and verification. It was not just refereeing that depended on it. It was the entire viewing experience. Now, to be fair, football has always had technical failures in big tournaments. Delayed VAR decisions, broken feeds, even disputed calls. No system is perfect under global pressure. But what happened here was not a delay. It was a loss of visibility at the exact moment clarity mattered most, and then a more uncomfortable detail began circulating among analysts tracking system performance. Just minutes before the outage, unusual traffic spikes were detected targeting key coordination servers. Not enough to confirm anything definitive, but structured enough to raise questions. The timing was too precise to ignore. The match continued, but the damage had already been done. The controversial goal stood. No explanation followed. FIFA's communication remained vague, referring only to temporary overload conditions due to unprecedented demand. Inside the stadium, engineers quietly disconnected backup systems. Broadcasters started switching to independent feeds. And slowly, the opening narrative of the tournament shifted from celebration to suspicion. By the second half, the match itself had almost become secondary. Every technical pause, every delayed replay, every moment of silence between referee and system added another layer of doubt. The game was still being played, but trust in how it was being judged was already breaking down. FIFA's new refereeing ecosystem was built on 3 major pillars: automated offside detection, centralized VAR validation, and AI-assisted decision classification. But what happened instead was cascading failure. Internal logs that surfaced after the match showed latency spikes spreading from one coordination cluster across North America. Within 90 seconds, those delays reached dependent systems in Mexico and Canada, then parts of Europe. It was not a single point of failure. It was a chain reaction moving through a connected structure that had never been tested under full real-world pressure. One analyst described it as a system that looked stable until it was actually used. FIFA's internal communications reportedly shifted quickly during the match. Staff were instructed to avoid technical explanations in public statements until further notice. Official messaging remained focused on temporary disruption, even as engineers behind the scenes struggled to stabilize core systems. Now, to be fair, large-scale digital infrastructure can fail under extreme load. Millions of simultaneous data requests during a global event can expose weaknesses even in well-designed systems. But typically, those failures slow systems down. What happened here was different. Systems didn't slow. They disconnected. A whistleblower from a contracted infrastructure partner later claimed that several stress tests had been shortened in the final months before the tournament to meet broadcast deadlines. According to those claims, full system resilience under peak global load conditions had not been fully validated. That detail changes everything, because it means the World Cup system was not just failing under pressure. It may have been operating beyond a threshold it was never properly tested for. By the 60th minute, referees were effectively making decisions with partial or delayed information. VAR assistance was inconsistent. In some moments, it worked. In others, it simply did not respond in time. And the opening controversy, the goal awarded without review, became the defining symbol of that failure. FIFA's public explanation remained controlled, describing the issue as limited and isolated. But leaked internal discussions used more alarming language, including phrases like multi-zone synchronization failure and loss of decision integrity across match systems. Those words never reached the public broadcast. Instead, viewers were told everything remained under control, but for anyone watching closely, control was already an illusion. By the end of day one, the World Cup was no longer being discussed in terms of football. It had become a debate about infrastructure, trust, and whether the sport's most powerful governing body had overestimated its own technological ambition. Cybersecurity analysts added another layer of uncertainty. While no official breach was confirmed, the pattern of system stress events raised questions. The timing, the coordination, and the spread of anomalies suggested more than random instability. One expert summary that went viral stated that the probability of simultaneous random failure across all major nodes was statistically unlikely without some form of external influence. FIFA firmly denied any interference. But in moments like this, denial competes with perception, and perception spreads faster. Now, to be fair, complex systems can fail in unpredictable ways without any malicious cause. Correlation does not automatically mean interference. But football is not experienced in laboratories. It is experienced in emotion, and emotion rarely waits for technical clarification. The most damaging moment did not happen during a goal or a foul. It happened during a broadcast demonstration of the VAR system itself. As officials attempted to explain how decisions were being processed, the live system froze mid-display. The screen locked. Audio continued, then stopped, then restarted out of sync with the visuals. Millions watching around the world saw the same thing, a system designed to guarantee clarity failing while trying to explain itself. In the hours that followed, FIFA announced an emergency technical review. Engineers from multiple partner organizations were called in. Backup broadcast feeds were activated across several regions. But by then, the issue was no longer technical. It was psychological. The opening day had already introduced doubt into every future decision of the tournament. Every goal, every offside call, every refereeing moment would now be viewed through the lens of what had already failed. The question that emerged was no longer about what happened in one match. It was about whether the entire system governing the World Cup could be fully trusted again. Was this simply a failure of advanced technology under extreme global pressure, or the moment football's most powerful institution lost control of its own creation? Drop your verdict in the comments. I read every one. A like genuinely helps more than you'd think. And subscribe if you want more World Cup coverage. Football at this scale is never just a tournament. It's a moment in time.